Welcome to a 1v1 on Simoski Winter. This game is going to be Lazerface versus Mohican. Lazerface, one of my subs, also known as the Plow King, and Mohican, a player who I think is a friend of Jove's. Jove is a very skilled player. Mohican, I think, similarly quite skilled, so this should be a pretty good game. We're going to see encirclement. That's quite bold. You might be able to make it work on this map, though. I think there's some cutoff potential on this map, because generally with encirclement, the strategy, if you can pull it off, which I realize is... I forgot what I was saying, because I started reading chat. But the strategy for encirclement, which can be very difficult to pull off, is that since a lot of maps revolve around two cutoff points, you want to bomb one of them and then stormtrooper the other one. So you pop stormtroopers out of a house, try and grab a point, and there's potential for that on this map a little bit. If you can stormtrooper this point by popping out of this building and then bomb that point simultaneously and then close the pocket, that's the idea. Of course, that means that you have to spend like 400 munitions or whatever, so that's pretty much impossible as Oster, but that's the theory. That's the theory, 300 munitions. So, I don't know. The stormtroopers, though, they can be nice, and having sprint on an Oster sniper also certainly has potential, so we'll see if Lazerface can make it work. Alright, up here in the north, we're going to see Pyo's going to take control of the victory point and then the munitions point later. These Grenadiers making their way south to try and work on this fuel point, and Grenadiers versus this building are going to lose because this fence prevents anybody in these three south windows from firing back. Only the top window can fire back on that building, so this building versus this building wins unless that fence is destroyed. Then this building wins because this has only 3 north-facing windows, although at this range Rifleman would probably win anyway. Generally, though, you don't want to engage this house from this house. This one's a little better because you have these 3 windows right here in addition to the top window right there, so you can get a lot of firepower on that house. But it's also at a slightly longer range, which may be a good or bad thing.
God damn it! Keep your rain up!
These Grenadiers set up in green cover right there, start falling pretty low. They're going to be forced to retreat. And Pyos take control of the victory point here in the north. Going to have to start making their way towards this area. Rear echelon troops jumping in this building as well. Those Grenadiers have to retreat. These Grenadiers making their way into a yellow cover position. Also, has anybody noticed how in observer mode you only get cover dots for one army? You only get cover dots for one army. If I highlight this Grenadier squad and try and look for cover positions, it doesn't show me anything. But if I select Riflemen, boom, cover dots. Similarly, I can create control groups on this army if they're not in a building. And then I can jump to certain units with the control groups, but I can't do that for the left side army. Fun random fact about observer mode, I guess. It's kind of a shame. I really wish I could make control groups and see cover dots without having to select the right side player's army. But I guess, you know, whatever. It wouldn't be a Romeo cast if I didn't complain about observer mode at least once. So that's my complaint about observer mode for this stream. Rear echelon troops jump into the strategic point up here, taking control of this cutoff. Bios set up and cover right there. Riflemen will be forced to retreat right there. Both squads of Riflemen. So not a great start here for Mohican. Lazerface off to a pretty good series of engagements right there, getting the machine gun to force retreats. If you can force a couple retreats with your machine gun and clean up the rest with your Grens, you're off to an okay start as Oster. Especially on a map of this size where forcing a retreat is a big deal, and you didn't get forced to retreat in return. So that's good. Grenadiers move to take control of the south fuel right here. The one problem, of course, is Lazerface has so far failed to take a fuel point, and he needs to establish a little more clearly, I think, which one he actually wants. Both of them pretty much equidistant from both bases, and this one's probably easier to take initially, but this building can make it a pain. Oh!
We just lost a unit.
That rifle grenade, though. I wasn't expecting that. Swoosh, indeed.
Taking fire.
Rifles get wiped by that rifle grenade. Volley fire going out on these Pyos might work. this range. One of them died. They are standing in red cover, but also being engaged by Pyos at this range. It does kick in. Pyos get suppressed, but probably not pinned. And even while suppressed, I think they might just win the engagement anyway. Because rear echelon troops are so great. Ooh, and stormtroopers are deployed out of this building just to be safe. Rear echelon troops will be forced to retreat right there, and Mortar is moving up to a slightly more aggressive location. Oh no! Retreat! What is he waiting for? There's a BAR on that squad. I think he's quite lucky that those Grens just got away. I was expecting them to get sniped for sure. BAR riflemen pop out of the building to get this fuel point under control, and it looks like Lazerface has still failed to make a really coordinated attempt to take a fuel point anywhere. This one will fail when these two riflemen make their move up here to push him away. And his machine gun is not being deployed to either fuel point, and that's probably part of the reason why he can't seem to get one under control. If he had deployed a machine gun up to this front, he would probably have shut down this push. That's something to think about. It would also potentially have been very dangerous to do that if his opponent had research grenades, so you have to weigh the cost and risk. Risk and benefit. Risk and reward, that's what I'm looking for. Risk and reward of deploying your machine gun to a more aggressive location like that, and on this map it can be tough to hold a fuel point. It can be tough to hold a fuel point. But I think his biggest problem is that he's trying to work both flanks simultaneously with slightly small quantities of forces. Nice flank right here. Machine gun needs to switch targets to the rifle squad here at point blank rather than the lieutenant set up in green cover right there, which you can do, by the way, by selecting the building and right-clicking the unit you want to shoot at. Machine gun's gonna get wiped. Late retreat and support never came to save the day. Nicely executed by Mohican right there. But at least, if you are gonna let your machine gun die, it's better to let it die inside of a building than and give it to the opponent. That's something to keep in mind.
Potato matcher, move!
Oh, you're right, Sankyoi. Thanks for the tip. Look at that. Wait, can I make control groups now too? Yes, I can. Wait, did that like delete all of my control groups off the? How does that work? Oh. Okay. Well, that's a nice workaround, but I still think it's kind of dumb. But thank you, Sankyoi, for pointing that out. Interesting.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Grenadiers move to take control of this area. Probably gonna get pushed away by BAR riflemen right here. The lieutenant gets away extremely narrowly. Did I miss a wipe? I don't think so, right? Yes, I did. A rifle squad got wiped.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Right? Wait, now I'm confused.
Squad numbers back to normal.
He produced 2, but lost 1. How does he have 3? Oh, okay, got it. I forgot that
Losing a capture point.
elite riflemen count as a different squad. Oh man, I'm so off my game this cast, apparently.
Someone get us out of here! All done over here. Orders incoming! A capture point is under attack.
Mortar set up on the ice right here. It's not firing at them. What's it shooting at? At these rear echelons, I guess. Not really hitting anything. They will eventually win this engagement against the church. Basically, the church can never win an engagement against anything. Because all directions, except for maybe the west. No, not even the west. It has only one north-facing window. It has only one south-facing window, so it can't win engagements against either of those sides. And there's green cover on its east side, and there's a house on its left side with 4 east-facing windows. There's also green cover over there. So basically, the church is only useful for stalling, which can be a good thing, and also for denying it to your enemy if you're playing as a faction with no building counters. But you'll never win an engagement from inside that church. So that's something to keep in mind, and if you have a unit stranded in there being flanked by multiple squads in green cover, you need to bring support, try and figure something out to save them.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
That squad will retreat, and Grenadiers engaging in this area. These Grenadiers taking control of the strategic point right there. Riflemen will be forced to retreat, getting away narrowly.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Taking control of the fuel down there. These Pyos taking control of the strategic point there. Stormtroopers deployed again out of this building, so 3 squads. Which is a lot of manpower, by the way. They're 340 each for like basically a Grenadier squad worth of firepower, which is not that strong. They have a very hefty opportunity cost associated with them because you can deploy them out of a building. And because they can be upgraded with slightly better weapons later, which are ridiculously expensive, by the way. For example, the Stormtrooper squad costs the same amount as a Panzer Grenadier squad. But you have to spend an additional 100 munitions just to bring them up to the same firepower as Panzer Grenadiers. Which is pretty bad, especially for a faction that already has to spend munitions like crazy. Especially for a commander that already has to spend munitions like crazy. So yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is there, but this engagement is going horribly badly for Mohican, who just lost a full lieutenant and rifle squad on the ice to LMG Grenadiers inside this house. And his rear echelon troops, oh my god. I don't think that could have possibly gone worse. He just had to retreat, he's now got only thing left is a major. This lieutenant squad, or this rifle squad, making himself a new lieutenant now, fielding a fresh squad of veteran riflemen trying to... He was floating actually kind of a lot just now. But he just lost so many full squads right there. That was catastrophic. Sherman in production though. He's had very good fuel control. Hopefully he'll be able to recover from that disaster a little bit.
Our supply line just got cut off.
Well, Jadric, I don't mean opportunity cost in the economic sense of the term. I mean literally they make the unit more expensive to deploy out of a building than to deploy normally. I shouldn't have called it an opportunity cost. I should call it like a, I don't know, deploy out of a building cost. Fallschirmjäger have the same thing. That's why the reinforced cost is cheaper than the squad's total cost. Because they have like a little extra manpower cost associated with them because they deploy out of a building. The opportunity cost of encirclement would be something more like encirclement has an opportunity cost associated with it because you don't have access to the Stug E because you didn't go mechanized assaults. That's the opportunity cost of going encirclement, and the opportunity cost of almost all commanders is what makes them not viable. Actually, so that's an interesting topic for discussion, and actually helps to explain the entire metagame as it currently exists. But that is not what I was talking about just now. Okay, that Sherman is wrecking everything. Speaking of the game, Sherman is killing everything. Fortunately, destroyed engine crit, but duct tape can fix that soon. No AT gun on the field yet. He has upgraded with a Panzerschreck on one of his Stormtrooper squads, and is building himself a tier 3 structure right there. Riflemen taking control of the cutoff and victory point, and munitions here in the north should be able to do so unopposed. And in the US base, a couple of squads getting replaced. So actually, despite Lazerface taking a huge lead with some wipes over there, kind of losing control of the game now. A lot of fresh rifle squads have been fielded with a little bit of extra manpower float that Mohican had earlier, and then also has a Sherman on the field. Panzer IV is about to hit the field though, so they'll actually have a very similar army composition, except for that they're pseudo-elite infantry with only one Panzerschreck each.
Squad shot it.
available to Lazerface. No anti-tank infantry really from Mohican.
We are
So
losing a sector.
Lazerface has a stronger anti-tank infantry corps, and clearly Mohican has the much stronger anti-infantry corps, especially on a medium-range map like this.
Enemy
BAR
forces
riflemen
are
plus
securing
lieutenant
our
plus superior
territory.
numbers will have no real problem dealing with 2 grenadiers left in the core of Lazerface's army. He's probably going to be relying quite heavily on this mortar to turn engagements in his favor, or just trying to outplay his opponent and hope that his opponent spreads his forces thin, maybe force squads to retreat one by one. Of course, the Panzer IV and Sherman are both going to have a pretty dramatic impact on engagements as well. Sherman is much better at wiping infantry, but the Panzer IV is much better at engaging the Sherman, so we'll see what happens. Stream looks great now. Huge improvement. Thank you, Heroic Weasel. I'm glad that it looks good. I'm glad that it's working. By the way, I checked the option earlier for the reduced delay. I don't know if you guys heard the news about Twitch adding a reduced delay option. I decided to turn that on for this stream. If there's a lot of buffering problems, they said that some users might experience some buffering problems. So if you are buffering a lot, I can look into turning that back off. Otherwise, hopefully the delay will be slightly reduced. Let me know if that's your experience or not. I don't know if that's how much that actually helps. Something to look out for. Panzer IV engaging against these riflemen right here. Sherman takes engine damage from the Panzerfaust. That's going to have to pull back for some repairs briefly. Panzer IV currently tied up and forcing some retreats here in the north, so it can't go engage against that Sherman. Ooh, was that a grenade? No. Just a really good engagement. I think that might be a wipe thanks to the magic of deep snow. Wow. Nice wipe in the red cover, but at least riflemen were available to recover the BAR. Would definitely be ashamed to give that to— oh! Wow! Remember earlier when I was saying that the Sherman is way better at wiping infantry? Clearly I need to take that back. Because, that squad just one-shotted those riflemen like it was nothing. Or that tank. Did I say squad? I meant tank. You know what I meant. Panzer IV off to a great start. Scaring off the Sherman, wiping our infantry squad, and completely pushing Mohican back into his base. Clearly the Sherman is struggling to react to this threat. Plus, of course, the Panzerschrecks help box that Sherman in, put a little bit of extra damage on that, so Mohican will purchase himself a Jackson. And there is a bit of a counter to the Jackson already on the field. Infantry-based anti-tank. In pretty decent supply here for Lazerface. Nothing crazy, but 2 Panzerschrecks should be able to keep a Jackson at bay. Panzer IV getting some light repairs here on the fuel point. Lazerface will start the clock ticking against his opponent again. Grenadiers are going to jump into this house. Panzer IV doing what it can against these riflemen right here. Jackson gets a big hit off on that Panzer IV right there. Panzer IV has to continue circle strafing and kiting. Where are the Panzerschrecks? That squad is retreating. This squad also currently in the base. There's no infantry-based anti-tank available for this fight, and the Jackson will get final shot off on the Panzer IV and destroy it. Panzer IV goes down, and a lot of infantry will be forced to retreat here. And because there's no infantry-based anti-tank, there's no way to finish off that Jackson without, like, spamming Panzerfausts at it or something. Or trying to sink it on the ice with, like, a long-range rifle grenade. But I'm pretty sure it's gone. There is no way to kill that. Fresh Panzer IV is on its way. Looks like we might see those stormtroopers get wiped, too. Although they just altered their retreat path because the Sherman blocked them too well. They will get away, although those pilots will not. So
Suffering losses.
takes wipes where he can get them. Apparently those grenadiers were chasing all the way across the ice, got a little overzealous. I don't think a Panzerfaust would have actually killed this thing. looks like it had a little too much health for that. I'm not sure though.
Reinforcements in. Welcome to the death factory, boys. Stick with me.
2 more Grenadiers going down, and this Sherman is now coming into its own quite nicely. Panzer Shreks will try and push it away, but they need to spread out. That's asking for, like, everybody to die in one shot. One of them goes down. The rest seem to be okay for now.
We got a rifle squad.
At least Stormtroopers look cool. They don't have a whole lot going for them, but at least they look pretty cool. I kind of like their snow uniform.
Sherman ready to go. Troops standing by.
Lieutenant working on this victory point in the north will be vulnerable to this Panzer IV. No top mount machine gun yet, so it may be difficult. No lucky miracle shots yet on the lieutenant. There it is, lieutenant wiped.
We just lost a unit.
Man, Panzer IVs have been getting some pretty nice shots off on infantry squads this game. I think 2 squads have been wiped to Panzer IV fire. That one had a pretty good chance of going down. It had a very long retreat path. This other one earlier here, though, that was pretty good luck. Bundle grenade? That is bundled, right? Yeah, bundle grenade on that rifle squad will get dodged. Sherman is here for this engagement as well, and there's the wipe. At least that squad didn't have a Panzer Shrek, but these wipes are proving very costly. Fortunately, there have been a zillion wipes on both sides, so the game is still pretty even. As soon as one player looks like he's getting an advantage, a tank wipes the other player's squad, and things are right back where they started. Jackson going in oddly hard, and this time there is infantry-based anti-tank here. I don't know what he was thinking with this. That Jackson's going to go down to Panzer Shrek fire any second. And there it goes. Sherman going in on this engagement is going to try and trade, but there are still 2 Panzer Shreks available for this, and that Panzer IV is a significant threat in its own right. BAR Rifleman inflicting huge damage, though. I don't know if the damage was that huge. There was another squad over here, actually, and I guess he doesn't want to risk losing anything on the retreat, but I almost feel that these 2 squads retreated prematurely. In particular, one could have stuck around for the Faust, maybe one more Panzer Shrek. If the Panzer IV had stayed in the engagement, maybe Lazerface could have won, but he just tried to cut his losses. Loses a full Panzer Shrek squad as a result, but will get out of the engagement with his tank and those 2 infantry squads still alive. Has a bit of manpower float going right now, so he's going to field a fresh squad of Grens and Pios, try and get his tank repaired, try and get back control of this game. Mohican is floating quite a bit as well, might want to consider fielding even more riflemen and try and boost his capping power a little bit, and firepower both. And I think he might want to consider bazookas. Maybe. He's got a little bit of extra munitions, and he's up against pretty much hard Oster Tier 3. Having a little bit of infantry-based anti-tank of his own might be nice to supplement the firepower of his Shermans, because his Jackson just went down. And trying to keep replacing Jacksons and Shermans for anti-tank duty when really Shermans are best suited for anti-infantry. A little expensive. I don't know. It's just something to think about. Bazookas aren't great either, but it can be nice to have some bazookas. As Rifle Company, and I think nobody has demonstrated that better than Captain Price. So, if you don't believe me, just watch Captain Price play U.S. Forces sometime. Although even Captain Price thinks that it works better against Oberkommando West than against Oster, but I think against Oster Tier 3, they're all right.
Support is here.
Squad gets away very narrowly right there. Very narrowly.
Veteran know-how will help us to better prepare our infantry. Security! Areas are. We got a Panzer Shrek!
White phosphorus being deployed on this engagement will prompt a full retreat from these infantry squads. Oh man, these 2 might get away. That one I'm not so sure. Not looking great for the Oster right now. Infantry bleed is stacking up pretty high. That squad is very lucky that Sherman does not have a top mount machine gun, which it should, by the way. It's even floating munitions. I don't know why he wouldn't upgrade that, because top mount machine gun would almost certainly give it the damage it needed to finish off those very low white phosphorus retreating squads. Easy 8 on the field now. Easy 8 can be a pretty good, actually, replacement for the Jackson. It's got more versatility, obviously, than the Jackson does. It's still quite potent against Oster Tier 3. So against Panzer IV spam, I could definitely see throwing an Easy 8 into the mix instead of a Jackson, so that when the Panzer IVs are destroyed, in theory, Easy 8 will still be useful, whereas once the Jackson kills tanks, it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really do anything other than counter tanks hard, which is all you need it to do, to be fair. I mean, if a Jackson has no job to be doing, that's a pretty good problem to have. Unless you're against close air support, then it's a horrible problem to have. But against encirclement, I don't think you need to be too worried if you've destroyed all of your opponent's tanks. Lazerface about to make his next big push here. Grenadiers and Stormtroopers making their way to the front line. Only one squad of Stormtroopers left will immediately die. Immediately dead, and they do not drop their Panzerschreck for Grenadiers to recover either, but the two Panzer IVs are going to move in on some damaged engine tanks, which will have no way of escaping or turning this engagement in their favor. Panzer IV should probably focus down this Sherman rather than the Easy 8, but their volley is connecting with this. Whatever, if they get behind it, their shots will penetrate. At very close range, they'll have a high chance to penetrate even frontally, and it gets abandoned. Easy 8 got abandoned. This Sherman should probably just destroy that Easy 8 rather than try and win this engagement, which it obviously cannot win. It had an opportunity to at least destroy this, but he didn't take it. He should have. Now his opponent is going to sacrifice a Grenadier squad to recover an Easy 8. I don't know. That may have not been worth it, honestly. That was expensive. Nice rifle grenade in the side engagement from these infantry, though. Infantry squad there just got wiped. This infantry squad could get wiped if he would stick around. Where's he going? Oh, it's going to get away for free. Easiest wipe I've ever seen right there. Well, these two Panzer IVs are going to blitz towards something. Oh no, this is the ability. This is a breakthrough. He's going to actually start taking control of some territory with his tanks, because he does have 3 tanks. Rifleman will destroy the engine of the Easy 8 apparently, but not destroy it. Panzer IV should go cap some territory while it's got that thing active and stuff. That's kind of fun. I always forget about this ability. 40 fuel. Wow, that's so overpriced though. That's terrible. I mean, he just basically spent 40 fuel to capture one sector that he was gonna get with these grins anyway. Moving faster is nice though. It's like a global blitz. You do move faster, right? Yeah, you move faster. So that's something, I guess. Easy 8 is receiving repairs here. It's going to take a long time to get that thing combat capable again, but he's got all the time in the world. He's now got a huge tank advantage, killed both of these allied tanks with his Panzer IVs. And, in a very good position. Now, Jackson is not going to be able to stack up against an Easy 8 and 2v4s, not even close. Although Lazerface's infantry corps being so much dead, there's hardly anything left, means he's quite slow to capture the map. Even after using breakthrough, he was very slow to capture the map. He only captured one sector with that ability. A little bit inefficient. I don't even know what those riflemen are doing right now though. That white phosphorus is just gonna slow repairs on that Easy 8, which I guess is nice and everything, but he just wiped a rifle squad just to, I mean, really, just to hurt some pyos.
Can be ordered to break through enemy lines.
Yeah, you can kind of feel the desperation kicking in a little bit, which doesn't make any sense because he's got a huge VP lead against Oster commander with a very poor late game. He's extremely behind. He doesn't need to be throwing away rifle squads, and at this point he does need to be thinking about a transition to infantry-based anti-tank since he's going to start running out of fuel once he starts losing map control. He's kind of lucky almost, really, that he hasn't lost any map control yet. Lazerface doing him a bit of a favor by not going to take control of any fuel points, just stopping the victory point clock, repairing, and then other than that, he's grabbing his munitions down here with his one remaining squad of infantry that can cap. His pyos are repairing, so they can't cap, and his stormtrooper squad, fresh stormtrooper squad deployed, will be able to help get some territory back under control unless they walk straight into a ton of BARs. And IV needs to be a little careful here. Pyos just got wiped, so apparently that white phosphorus paid off after all. Stormtroopers will also make no attempt to retreat from this engagement and die. Jackson is going to kill that P4 if it doesn't pull back to safety right now. Support is on its way. Panzer IV moving up from the south. Jackson about to take one more shot and will get around the corner. He's popped Blitzkrieg to try and get to safety. There it is, out of control. Panzer IV will be destroyed. EZ-8, however, should be able to destroy that Jackson if it can just catch up with it. Meanwhile, this Panzer IV trying to kill all the infantry. Jackson will go down to the EZ-8. Panzer IV doing what it can against these riflemen. And Mohican trades, but it's not a very good trade, honestly. I mean, I guess it's an okay trade considering he's got both fuel points, but I still feel like he's a little behind. In the sense that he has no tanks and his opponent has 2. But both Pyos just got wiped during that engagement, so neither of these tanks can be repaired either. Which is not exactly a great situation to be in. One squad of Grenadiers continues to capture the map, and a fresh squad of Stormtroopers just got deployed out of this shed here in the north to take control of the victory point. Yeah, you like that, Cookies and Cream? You like that? I finally learned the hotkey for slow-mo. Boom, look at that. I can turn it on anytime I want. So I always do that now if an engagement's happening a little quick for me and I feel like I can't narrate everything that's happening. I'm learning slowly after making 600 videos, learning the hotkeys. So the slow motion, I try and do slow-mo for like plane crashes, tank engagements, other things that might be a little hard to keep up with at times. Oh, and like big artillery strikes. Try and throw it in where it seems appropriate.
Where the hell is that bar?
These 2 squads of riflemen making their way towards the center.
Someone get it down here!
Rifle grenade was way off target. Grenadiers should try to retreat if they're gonna die. Come on. Please don't just stand there dying. There they go. Rifle grenade on the Panzer IV. Again, neither of these units can receive repairs yet. Fresh squad of Pyos on the field is making its way to the front line to assist. Those riflemen are not going to do anything against these 2 tanks, unsupported. If anything, that was just manpower bleed for Mohican, but it will also give him the information that there are no Pyos on the field, which he probably already knows that his opponent's infantry forces are currently extremely weak. Stormtroopers get control of all this stuff in the north and will connect it now, taking control of the cutoff. Simultaneously, the cutoff in the south is being ignored. Riflemen making their way towards the fuel point instead, I guess. Fresh Jackson on the field. Finally, Mohican's map control is waning ever so slightly. Which just goes to show how important it is to preserve your tanks. Both players have had horrible infantry preservation, but Lazerface has had ever so slightly better tank preservation, which would be true even if he hadn't stolen this EZ-8. He would still be up by a Panzer IV, roughly, over his opponent. In fact, let me check the numbers. He's lost 2 of his 3 Panzer IVs, and Mohican has lost 4 tanks. So yes, Mohican has lost twice as many tanks as Lazerface this game, so tank preservation has been much better. And RNG's has decided to reward Lazerface for that with a free EZ-8. Panzer IV and EZ-8 move to engage against this Fresh Jackson simultaneously. EZ-8 falling quite low there. Jackson also falling quite low, which just goes to show how engine damage can be a serious problem. Panzer IV could very seriously go down. Pyos are not going to be able to out-repair this damage. It needs to get around the church. What is it doing? Wow, that bounced though. That was so lucky. Panzer IV moves up to take a shot at the Jackson, which is not kiting, and it will be destroyed. It didn't even move, it just sat there. Rifle grenade from those riflemen on the Panzer IV brings it to a tiny sliver, but it will not finish the job. White phosphorus being deployed on that Panzer IV. I don't think a white phosphorus direct hit can kill it, can it? It doesn't look like it. I think even if the shell lands right on top of it, it would still maybe have survived. I don't know. Either way, nothing really connected, and that Panzer IV will get out alive. Stormtroopers being chased down here in the north, however. And there they go. I think that Mohican is pretty much, that was his last gasp. I don't know if he's going to be able to recover from this. He's only got 2 riflemen left. The opponent has a much stronger infantry corps right now. 2 elite, or like semi-elite, and 2 grenadiers. And he still has both of these tanks and 2 squads of pilots alive to repair them. Once both of these are fully repaired, whatever Mohican fields next on his rather measly amount of income, not particularly likely to be able to contend with this. And I don't think he's going to be able to bum rush the victory points with his rather small forces either. 1 squad of stormtroopers here in the south to protect. A squad of grenadiers making their way center to get that captured. The clock will be slowed thanks to the efforts of rifles here in the north, but I don't think there's any real danger of Lazerface losing this game. In deep snow, just throw the grenade at them. They can't dodge it. He tried to throw it in their path, and they just stopped moving.
Units are ready to deploy. Breakthrough tactics are ready for use, Commander.
Easy 8 is up to Vet 2, fully repaired. Panzer IV is next. Rifle grenade deployed against those riflemen. Goes in for a crush maneuver, does sustain engine damage, but chases away those riflemen easily enough. Grenadiers will be able to get the point under their control. Currently 1 squad sitting in the base, 1 squad healing, and 1 squad retreating, or 1 squad capping. 1 squad capping the munitions and 1 squad retreating. And Lazerface just activated close the pocket apparently. For this, I guess? Is that what he was doing? He'll get his opponent to retreat. But I'm pretty sure no artillery of any kind is landing anywhere. I think he had to wait for this to actually get captured or something. I think he should have waited for that to actually get captured. Whatever, the squad retreated anyway. So that is the most eerily silent close the pocket I think I've ever seen, which will drop no shells. So 200 munitions well spent. Totally worth it.
All right, you dopes, listen up. Gather round. I smell orders.
Panzer IV making its way up here. Will encounter nothing. Maybe he could activate breakthrough. Get the victory points going in his favor. The last 45 seconds. Can a Panzer IV cap 2 points in 45 seconds? That'd be a fun experiment. Oh, he's gonna move that back towards the center to support against this next coming push.
300 points remaining.
Grenadiers set up in green cover right here. Nothing's gonna break through, as far as I can tell. 1 squad already retreating. Good decision, by the way, to go captain into an AT gun. I think that was the right call, but I don't know if this is a game that is recoverable, so
We lost an infantry unit.
probably a little late on that, honestly. But nice attempt, regardless. Could have thrown maybe armor-piercing rounds out for the Panzer IV right there, because there's a lot of shots plinked off the Vet 2 armor skirts. AT gun didn't have a whole lot of success right there. In fact, none of its shots penetrated. None of its shots penetrated at all. A bunch of squads need to reinforce and heal here on the ambulance.
What the hell am I meant to do with these?
Someone get us out of here!
Well,
And this Easy 8 making its way up to now. Like, what are these riflemen even doing?
Just got cut
Die.
off.
250 victory points remaining. Mohican might be thinking, if I just let my manpower go up a little bit, get back to like 50, 60 out of 100 pop cap, make another coordinated push for a slightly lighter defended area,
Welcome to the death
we might be able to start wriggling his way back into this game. He's got some time, but honestly, his odds aren't great. The opponent has huge map control, and I'll probably be able to go tier 4 if he wanted, or which he is going to. Battle Phase 3 in production. If a Panther hits the field, pretty good chance that this game will be impossible to win on AT guns and bazookas.
Area's ours. The capture point is being overrun.
Pio is taking control of the fuel here in the north, and Tier 4 is under construction by Lazerface.
The enemy down. We are losing a sector.
And if Lazerface does get 280 munitions together, I think it would be fun to see him decap that with a dive bomb and like close the pocket on this sector when there's a bunch of riflemen in it or something. I don't know. I'd like to see this commander somehow made useful. Clearly, Stormtroopers haven't exactly been amazing. Broom Bear in production, in conjunction with an Easy 8 and Panzer IV. That should give him a very nice weapon to utilize against the last vestiges of Mohican's struggling army. Captain just died in that building, stuck around far too long. Grenadiers engaging against this AT gun, be able to push that back into the base no problem, and Riflemen in the north. Chase away some Pios. Panzer IV needs some repairs. Pios on the way. Grenadiers going to get the victory point captured and start the clock ticking against Mohican again, who wasn't really able to accomplish much of anything during that push, unfortunately.
Sturmpanzer ready.
You need something?
Enemy contact.
There goes that rifle squad. Broom Bear on the field, making its way to the front line. Panzer IV. It's for cookies.
Pioneers awaiting orders.
Sturmpanzer.
Enemies taking our
That's my best
territory.
attempt. I have no idea how to pronounce Broom Bear. No idea. Ooh, flamethrower just popped. So much for those guys. AT gun taking shots from the ice, deals minor damage to the Broom Bear, but nothing too serious. Easy 8 continues to defend fuel here in the north. And a last desperate Jackson
Drop to 100 points.
makes a lonely advance. Rifleman not off to a great start against that Broom Bear in this engagement. AT gun does land another shot.
Rifle squad ready for action.
Easy 8 on the flank is on the ice. Oh no! Ice does not break, fortunately. Broom Bear takes a shot at the rifleman with Panzer IV support. Jackson has not taken any damage yet. Another shot bounces off the Easy 8 right there. But the AT gun gets destroyed. Jackson pulling back to safety away from these tanks. Blitzkrieg behind it. Trying to gun it down, and it will get in range on that Jackson right there. Jackson misses its shot. Panzer IV shot bounced. Jackson continues running away along the road. Panzer IV wastes the shot on the bunker right there. Jackson gets one more hit, but finally the Jackson is destroyed. And that is definitely the game, if it wasn't definitely the game already several times over. And And Mohican surrenders. Well, we did get to see encirclement this game, which is kind of fun, and it did beat Rifle Company, which is astonishing, but probably mostly just because Mohican made a lot of horrible mistakes early on and lost a lot of infantry squads and couldn't keep up enough early pressure against Panzer IVs. Lots of wipes on both sides. I would have liked to see Close the Pocket actually do something. I would have liked to see this used maybe a little more efficiently. This ability wasn't used at all, neither was Sprint as far as I saw. And Stormtroopers performed pretty poorly like they usually do for their cost. So, GG. Axis wins.